What's up, everybody? Hopefully we're on. I was rushing around because I was planning on at lunchtime today going over the stack of questions that we had come in since we haven't been here, and
we got a few.
I was sitting in there trying to set up the channel. I'm trying to work on getting it a little bit better as far as description, working on that. I'm actually planning on trying to find a program. I'm gonna have to buy it. I guess I'm gonna have to break down and buy one. I don't know of any editing program for a computer that's easy. I have a video editing app on my phone and it works really well, but I can understand it. It's really simple and easy to use, but it just don't, for some reason I can't get it to transition to YouTube or anything like that. So I'm going to try and look for if anybody knows any kind of editing thing. I know I've talked with GoGo and I can't really remember what he's told me because I just don't really have the money to break down and buy editing software, and I hate to buy something and me not be able to use it. I'm pretty good at figuring out stuff, but sometimes I get overwhelmed with it and I just don't care to fool with it. But I'm trying to get on the channel more and figure out how to make it better instead of just doing the Tech Talk Live. Actually doing some build stuff some more. Back when I first started, I was kind of gung-ho about making videos. I was looking at some of my old videos last night and I want to remake them and go into a little more detail on all of them, because all those videos were just quick videos that I was making for certain people on Facebook groups, trying to explain how to do it quickly. I wasn't really trying to make a video for a following. So I want to go back and edit them, or not edit them, but remake them, recreate them, and redo them to a better, higher standard, something more like the cars I try to build. So I was sitting in the office and Aaron handed me the stack of questions, and I was reading through them, and one was about a Charger, and one was about a Camaro, and one was about a Roadrunner. And I was like, well, I got these cars here, but they're locked up in the back shop. So I went back there by myself and scrambled and moved some cars around and pulled Charger up here, and I pulled a Camaro up here, even though I've got two Camaros up here already. But this Camaro's cut down and it kind of gets into the area better suited for the camera for me to show this area and answer this question. So I went back there and got it. I don't know what I was looking for my phone, but obviously we're live. So
we're live.
Let me see here.
Charlie, Gunner, Ken, Tim, Don Man, GoGo, Wes Perry, my mom and pops, Ty, Lake and Lodge, and Trellis. Hey, hon, you just left.
Trellis Hickey just left from up here, and he made it home, I guess, or either he's watching and driving.
Well, we won't tell on you.
Or his pop's doing it. So, yeah, we met Trellis. He brought a car here, so awesome guy. He is with the military. I appreciate his service. His dad was too. His dad was cool. Really, really nice people. Yeah. So I look forward to his build. But
Sideways says he sees a Mustang. I didn't read. I just read who was here. Everybody saying hi, hi, hi. GoGo says none of the editing things are. Oh my goodness.
Says something. Hopefully we didn't lose y'all, because it just popped up that there was a problem with the server.
But none of those are free or easy, but there are some for free. Don said it's good to see me back. Yes, I missed you guys. I have CyberLink Power Director, but the new version is a monthly subscription. Quit.
I don't know what's going on. Hopefully we're not losing you guys, because it keeps popping up something with the server.
when we were on a couple weeks ago, like, explaining the issue and why we've been kind of away, I went back and rewatched that video and realized that it was skipping a lot. So if y'all are seeing that right now while it's live, will you tell me? Because it's doing it on my phone too. So Trellis says he's watching and driving. Be careful.
So
still here. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So hopefully it don't mess up, and hopefully it don't break up. I had the Mustang here. I have basically welded the inside, and I mocked it all back up, and I was waiting on the tail light bezels, which came yesterday. I haven't talked with Rex and let him know yet that they got here, but I'll show y'all what I was going to do and the reason I needed tail light bezels for this car. I probably explained it sometimes before, but I'm going to show you guys on this car. But first I'm going to answer some of these questions because that's what we do, and this thing just popped up.
Everybody's saying it's working fine though. Hey Dr. K, hey James Kelly, Anthony Nolasco, anybody I've missed, I'm sorry. I can see much better though, FYI. Headaches are better.
Yeah, it's doing it, and it's on your phone doing it. Is it showing up on y'all's that there's a problem with this server? It might only be showing it on the live chat. I don't know if everybody that's watching can see the live chat.
They all say it's doing good, so we'll just keep hitting the button and moving on. If y'all do see issues, let us know. I did want to give a special thanks to
Lake and Lodge.
Lake and Lodge. He took the time out to reach out to me and Juby and send us some prayers and tell us a little bit about himself. So I kind of feel like I know him a little bit better now, which makes me feel good. I love to learn things about you guys, but he had me in my office crying over this one, and I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time.
I haven't really responded to it. I read it, but just haven't responded. I don't know. I did look for the 67 hinges, and I don't currently have none unless they're up on top of the roof over there, and I haven't made it up there yet. But I went and looked at my hinge stash in the back, and the Camaro and Firebird and GM ones, don't see it. I'm going to go through the box that I have for the Mopars and see if a set might have got stuck in there. But I'm still looking for some for you.
Some what?
Some door hinges.
Doesn't matter what kind?
No, he's building a 67. So the hinges have stamped on the factory ones, and his are so bad that he's needs another set.
Gotcha.
He bought a aftermarket set, but they don't have the stamping in them. So I don't know. Let's see.
That's just
John.
photos.
No problem here.
Oh.
Hey, Lake and Lodge. So we have questions and stuff, but we're back. Hopefully, Erin's been doing good. She's having little lightheaded, dizzy when she stands up. I guess the blood thinners. She's battling trying to get her prescription changed because the prescription is really, really expensive. And I would say we can't afford it, but we can. It's just tight. If we do, put it this way, she called the other day and they told her to come down and get 9 pills.
9 pills.
9, and it was $100, and those 9 pills only last 3 days. So
you do the math. It's a little high.
So she's got to do it. She's got to be on the medicine for a year at the most. 6 months.
Unless things go well. If it dissipates and moves along, and the scans show that I can wean off sooner, but they did tell me that I could potentially be on this medication for up to a year.
Yes, sideways. It's 67 Camaro. Lake and Lodge is looking for some factory 67 hinges because his are pretty rough. He bought some aftermarket ones from what I gather, and they don't have the stamping, and he wants the stamping. So so we're trying to find a set of them if anybody has some and feels like giving them to him or selling them or whatever, and let him know. I know he's looking for some. So I'm trying to get the channel going better. Like I say, trying to find a program to start making videos. One of the YouTube guys that I've been dealing with, met, awesome guy, built a floor for him. He's been here several times. In fact, he might be coming this week again. He bought the sheet metal to build a 67 Chevelle that I have. 66 Chevelle. So I'm going to do a build series, and I'm also going to use it for our website here at the shop. The videos on properly disassembling your car and how it should come to us on a cart, on the chassis, everything unbolted, deck lid off, doors, or deck lid on, doors on, but latches and stuff. So I'm going to do a video on that, and then I'm going to actually do a video on cutting down, how to cut down the car for you guys at home that are trying to do this at home. I've sat and watched a lot of different builders that are building at home that have a YouTube channel, and they build cars, and I see a lot of things that I'm like, why? And I know some of the guys on here, Go and Lake and Lodge, they're trying to do things right, and all they have is these guys that are really in it for the money. They're building cars in their garage and charging people to build these cars, and they're putting them out, and they're just not doing it right. And I want to show you the proper way, and I also want to show you my theory on why I do a whole quarter panel versus doing a piece of a quarter panel or patching something in. So that's some stuff that I want to work on, showing you guys how to do. It's basically going to be a full build, near about. It's going to get hinge pillars, A-pillars, roof, floor, wheel houses. I might tub it, I'm not sure. The car will be for sale, the body will be for sale. And I don't put the price out there because there's people that I've went into it before that bash it, and they're like, I can go buy a brand new one for that price and whatever. If anybody's interested, I wasn't going to list it for sale because I did that with the Camaro, and then I ended up getting rushed on it, building it, because I got it sold, and I didn't really get rushed on it. I felt like it needed to get done so that the person that had bought it could get it. It wasn't really rushed. I take that back.
You just had more of an urgency feeling once you know that somebody's waiting on it.
So I don't want to do that with this car, but it will be for sale. I have no use for a 66 Chevelle. Nice car, like them. Probably would be a Chevelle that I would have if I wanted a Chevelle. So I got that. I'm working on cleaning up my shop at the house and getting some concrete poured, and I'm thinking about moving a wall and rebuilding a wall on the outside so that I can set up a shop and do builds in there, as far as trying to replicate being at home doing it. But it'll probably be a while because I got a 41 Plymouth that I want to work on. I want to learn some metal work and how to get dents and stuff out of metal. But that's going to be a ways down the road. I still got to get this thing out. Got to get the 66 done.
Gunner said he got his roof welded on last week and he couldn't have done it without you.
That's great. And I'm going to start. I know I talk about God a lot, and
because none of us could do that, any of it, without him.
Yeah, without him. And I wasn't really trying to put that in here right this minute, but for a while I kind of felt like I was spending more time with work, trying to do tech talk, and just life was overwhelming, and I was thinking of simplifying things and kind of giving up on tech talk or YouTube, because
we were getting burnout.
Getting burnout. I liked the attention before, but like I said, I can only imagine if I had millions of followers, all the questions and the stuff, and then people getting mad at me because I didn't answer their question or I didn't get to them or whatever, and that's a price you pay when you become famous. In the beginning, that's what I try. In the beginning, I wasn't trying to do that, and then it started growing, and then I was like, you know, I want to be this person that everybody knows and comes to about their cars, and I know I can't help everybody. So that kind of got to where I didn't really want that, because I just want people to know about God, and I was like, I need to just go into the ministry and stuff. But I listened to a sermon last week or the week before last, and it was talking about your calling, and you're only going to be what God has planned for you. If God puts you on the earth to do a certain calling, if it's teaching or whatever. Me, I wanted to be the Apostle Paul. That's I wanted to be. I look up to Paul in the Bible, Paul. He's awesome to me, and I wanted to be a guy like him. I wanted to be remembered as a guy like Paul, and I kind of felt like that's what I needed to do. I needed to be a missionary. I needed to go out and witness. And then the sermon I heard was talking about, if you're not called to be something, you're never going to be it. So I can't say I want to be this and just be that. Now, I was like, man, it's cool that he's great. He's got all this cool stuff to do in the Bible, and I want to be that guy. Well, people at home, don't feel bad about your calling because you're not a pastor or you're not a youth minister or you're not a doctor or whatever. When God calls you and you have a purpose, whether it's being a teacher or being a janitor, use that for God's glory no matter what. And
quick break.
About to cry. Cut it. But I feel like my calling is cars, and I feel like this cars is my ministry, and this is my way to reach people. If God wants me to be famous and God wants me to reach millions of people, then this is my way of doing it. I can't go out and be somebody I'm not. This is me. And we come up with, Charlie has been, Charlie's been following me since the beginning, and I feel bad about his car. So the 21st of July.
Not June, right?
Yeah, July.
Okay, because I have calendar.
She's my secretary. So July 21st, Aaron has penciled it in. I'm loading up my tools and everything that I think that I'm going to need. And I'm going to Charlie's. I'm going to meet some of the guys that are on here, Go-Go, Wes, and we're going up and we're going to help fix Charlie's car. I'm not asking for any pay on it. I don't want to get paid. I just want to go out and hang out with these guys, share my testimony, help somebody build their car. Jesus already paid for it all. He paid for it on the cross. He gave me the talents that I have, and it's the least I can do to repay him. I'll never be able to repay him. So I'm going there to fix his car. And we were talking about it this morning, so we're going to make a segment. Go-Go came up with aMAYSing car rescue. So I'm going to try and make a segment where every so often, every couple of months or so, I'm going to get with somebody that is building a car at home that are struggling in some area, and I'm going to try to go out and help them. Like I said, Erin's struggling, we're struggling with her medicine, being able to afford it, and trying to go out and do this stuff for people, gas and stuff like that is hard. And I know we're gonna make it. I'm putting my faith in God, and He's gonna provide. He's gonna see that it happens. If this is His will, it's gonna happen. So,
and if they can't change my medicine, it's gonna
we're
be
just
what
gonna
it's
buy
gonna
it. But I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, and I feel like God's gonna provide. A lot of my guys have been great with helping us and stuff, like the one, he can say his name, but he bought the Chevelle stuff, and that's going to be some money later on. You know, when I sell it, it'll be some money. I did do a little more description, some hashtag stuff today that I can copy and paste. I'm going to try and work on it, and I also put my PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever on here. I'm not asking anybody to go on there and send me money or us money for anything. It's there. If you want to donate, then that's fine. It's great. It'll be greatly appreciated. But I'm not trying to make you guys feel bad and feel like you got to go donate. I'm just going to stick it out there. And like I say, it's like the offering plate at our church. They don't pass it around. It sits over there. And
it sits in a corner that you can very easily pass by. They never speak about, y'all better be giving us money. They don't ask for it. It's not how our church operates, which was one of the things that kind of drew me to the church. Not only like the love that you feel the second you walk in the door, but the fact that they're not like some churches you go into and they're like, have you been saved? Have you been baptized? Well, you can't come in here until you do both of those things, plus you got to give me all your money. That's not church. And
the church does awesome. It's God's will, and like I said, it's there if you want. If you don't, I'm fine with it, because like I said, if this is what I'm supposed to do, God's going to provide no matter what. But we'll go to, that's enough about.
Well, I'm going to read a couple comments before we switch subjects.
Yeah,
your dad said, God is using you, son. People need this kind of help. And Charlie said, hang in there, Juby. Go-Go said, this is the way. My mom said, Juby, you are a very talented person. We are so proud of you both. And that's when I went, ooh. And my dad said, cars is y'all's calling, and you can do God's work through cars. Y'all gonna make me cry. Sandy Johns, amening. I love you guys. Rudy said, you already helped me. I built my fixtures using your measurements. This is why we do this, y'all, because y'all are great.
Yeah. I'm sitting here reading through myself.
I tried to hit the questions and the main points. It's a lot. Charity does begin at home. Taking care of yourself is a huge responsibility and a requirement, I think. So, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So Juby and I have also been trying to pay attention to that a little more, taking time to actually speak to one another. We're actively trying to stay off of our phones when we're together. so that we can be more in the moment with one another. We've got chickens and geese and dogs and kitty cats at the house, and we go home and play with them, and we work on our yard. We're probably getting some fish this weekend for our pond. I'm excited about that, but a lot of together time instead of just going home and staring at a TV and not talking to one another. So we're trying our best to relax, stay comfortable, and present.
Yeah. So I read it. I appreciate everybody giving me encouragement, and it's kind of like y'all are my accountability partners. And my dad said I cry like he does.
Had to drop
and
my hat.
and I learned this. I learned this weekend or this past Sunday in church that I'm probably not Saul. I'm more Jeremiah.
Yeah.
The weeping prophet. So I cry every weekend. I cry every day at church, and sometimes I cry here. I go in the back and I hit my knees and I pray in my little hiding spot in the back in Craig's little thing propped up against his gear. Just some things hit me during the day, and I cry about it. But anyways,
thank you to everybody though.
I hung the Super Bee last week, I think.
Yeah, that customer had Ken Force.
John Force.
John Force. Ken. Who's Ken? Ken Force. No. What's the other?
Chip Foose.
Boom. Brain synapses still aren't all perfect yet. But anyway, it had a signature on the other quarter panel, and he was nice enough to let us keep that one, so we displayed it.
The other one was signed by John Force. When he pulled in, I said, man, I need that. I see a quarter panel I want. He said, well, if you want that one, you probably want the one on the other side. And it was signed by John Force. If I would have got it, I'd gave it to my dad, because my dad likes John Force, and he'd have it hanging up, even though I think my dad has John Force's signature already. But he was nice enough to leave that one with me, so I hung it up there. The Super Bee emblem on it's super nice. I like it. Yeah. Let's see.
I'll mess up a name in a heartbeat too. Always been pretty bad with names. I'll call you Skippy and Scruffy.
Yeah, so we have a car here from Donald Mann.
Yeah.
And this is, I would guess, what year is this one? This is...
Don, I forgot what is...
See, I'm not even good. I'm not even that good. But I can't tell. But this is... Looks like a 67.
I'm thinking 7.
I think it's a 67.
That's the only one I didn't write it on the top for some
I can't
reason.
see the... Well, I don't see the vent wing mirror window, so it might be a 68. But it's an SS RS, and he sent pictures of it, so I will bring it up here, because like I said, I've been wanting to do people's rides on here. So this is Donald Mann, and he can comment on what it is. Obviously it's a Camaro, and it's either a 68 or a 67.
But it's beautiful.
I would guess 68, I believe. So.
Oh, Don says 69.
69? I'm way off.
We're both wrong.
Well, that's why I don't see the vent wing, but I can't tell with the... Maybe, yeah. So I was way off, see? I would have said 68.
69 RSSS.
But I can't, yeah. I knew RSSS because it's got the lights.
So anybody else, if you want us to show off your car, send me some photos. Like Jimmy said, we're gonna try to find a way to like pop it up so that it's clearer for you guys, but when you're live, I'm just gonna print them and we're gonna take them up.
Yeah, so hopefully I can get to editing. That way when I mess up about what kind of car something is, I can
bleep it out.
So, let's see what we got.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do the, I don't even know what that was. 69 Charger, 69 Camaro, 68 Roadrunner.
This is the same right here. So,
yeah, that's one.
This, I wish I had a drip rail. This comes from North Yorkshire, England, and he can't join live because
The time difference.
The time difference. But he has a 67 Camaro, and he asked about some questions on his car, and I'm gonna go back here because I brought one in, and I might have to run to the back and get a drip rail so that I can show the drip rail and what I do on the drip rail and how I mount the drip rail. And then he has another question about a little indention. So I'm going to walk back here and see if I can find a drip rail. I guess Aaron can grab the camera.
Do you want me to carry these with me? Or are we gonna come back?
Yeah, I'll carry them. Okay. Whatever, or you can carry them. Or so she's gonna get that. I'm gonna run to the back.
While he runs to the back, I'm gonna show you all these shirts real quick. We got, uh-oh, I got it dirty. This is the new Camaro GM version we've got for the moment. How cool is that? And this is the Mopar version for the moment. Y'all know I had to go with the purple. I promise the next Mopar won't be purple. So we're giving 2 shirts away today for anybody that finds Popeye or our new member, Paco. Paco has traveled around with the Hopkins quite a bit. I don't know his full story, but I do know that he has traveled around quite a bit. So if y'all locate him, throw that in the comments. Same thing with Popeye, and the first person to locate them both, you'll get a shirt. There's Juby.
Yeah, Popeye and Paco. And I have no clue where they're at because I asked Erin, did she even hide them or what she was doing, if she's planning on giving away one prize for one if they were both in the same place. Y'all can see me looking around trying to see if I can find them. I don't know where they're at, but because it gets expensive. And she said we were giving away 2 shirts, so we're giving away 2 shirts. So we're going to walk back here to the Camaro.
I don't even know what Paco, well, I'll put it on what Paco looks like, but I did post him.
Paco, I done seen Paco.
You found him already?
Yes, I found him. So if you stay right here, I'll bring Paco up here and show you Paco, and then I'll go put Paco back.
Okay.
So that everybody knows what they're looking for with Paco. So we're gonna be in this area.
Yep, I'm just gonna look right here. Sideways purple is a unique color. I have always been a fan of purple.
So Paco is a Chihuahua.
Paco.
A Wawa.
Paco.
This is Paco. He's a little squishy.
As you can tell, he's very well traveled.
Yeah, he's well traveled. I don't know how old he is. So don't go hollering I found him on Juby's head. I'm gonna go put him back. We're gonna talk about the Camaro, and you guys look for Paco and Popeye.
Plum Crazy is my favorite Mopar purple too.
I'm back. So, the first question was this. He was patching this inner structure piece right here was rotted, and he was asking what this little indention was, which I'm sure some of you guys know, and that is for the quarter window stiffeners.
Oh, those little dudes.
So, let me find the right one for the right side. And this is the right side. The right side on the right side. So, this is it. But the quarter window stiffener, you can see there's a spot of weld there. It's got to get cleaned off. But when the quarter window stiffener, when the quarter panel's on here, I have a video showing how I install this. It slips into the quarter and it goes up in here, and then it gets plug welded into the quarter. I guess if you're good and you want to put the quarter panel on there, clamp it on there, take the quarter panel back off, spot weld it, put it back on, then you can do it that way. But it's just as easy to go ahead and drill 2 or 3 spots in the quarter panel for plug welds, and it goes in here and you plug weld it, and then you stitch it on the inside, and you can reach in and stitch it right here with the quarter panel on. That's what that plug weld is, and that's what that little tab is. So I'm going to remake a video on installing these, and it's going to be better than the one. I think my hair was long and hanging all out everywhere, and I didn't have it in a man bun that deters people from having their car built or wanting to build their car because of a man with a man bun. So I'm going to remake the video, and I'll show you guys what I do. I know it's hard to drill because it sits a little higher than this. The quarter panel sits a little higher than this inner piece. So I always stick my hand up in here with my hand tongs, which are basically like the flat bill clamps, and you can stick your hand up in here and grab the lip of the quarter panel, and you can bend it out a little bit. And when you bend that lip out, it puts it on an angle that you can drill. And once you drill them, then before you weld this piece back here, go ahead and plug weld it, grind it smooth while you got the surface too, and then reach back in there with your clamp, put it on there and bend it back. I'll show you my hand tongs. They're better than these. These here leave a lot of angle, so it takes a lot of movement before it actually starts bending. So you got that much play before it even starts bending. So once that gets done, then you'll come in here and you'll weld it, and you usually clean that area right there and leave it bare. That way when you weld, you can get good penetration, and it just gets a little tack. 9 times out of 10, when we take the quarter panels off, these things are already broke loose. That's why a lot of people don't even know about these being in the car, because they don't pay attention when they cut it down and they take the quarter panel off. This stays attached to the quarter panel, gets thrown in the trash, and they never know that that thing's even in there. It holds, you can set the distance here, and that was another one of his questions, or that was another question that somebody else asked.
Thank you guys for all the questions.
Somebody sent me a question about the gap down through here. Now, the way I had to get my tape measure.
That was
measuring tape.
Tim from Pennsylvania asked that, I believe. Yeah.
Which we can go over to one of the cars that's finished, and I'll answer that question when we go over there.
Okay.
So
Charlie said we can experiment on my car.
Yeah, we're gonna experiment.
Because he said he'll finally understand how they get positioned.
Oh yeah. So we'll go over to a finished car and I'll show this. But another question that Kurt from England had was about drip rails. So I went and bought some drip rails.
Brand new.
Somebody else asked about these as well. I gotta make sure those get on the right cart.
Mm-hmm.
They asked about how I determine where the drip rail sits without the front drip rail on. Usually the drip rail sits flush with this, but that you can tell is kind of bent down. Me, I've done enough of them to know how much lip is supposed to be back here, and I can feel it with my finger and tell nearly 9 times out of 10, just about every time. And I usually leave just a little bit of space. If that was bent up, the space wouldn't be as much. But some people think that this thing's got to be flush with this. It don't. It usually is that right there. That mark there is usually where it sits, so that much is revealed underneath. So that piece would be basically flush right there, and you would have that much of a lip underneath.
Oh.
So And like I say, it's usually a little bit of a gap right here, not much. And then if you come back here, there's a little reset, a piece protruding out here that actually lines up around that notch. So if you have this sitting at the correct spot across, then it generally sets this right here where it's supposed to be, as long as you got that piece where it needs to be at the front. You can put this piece back on. It's just 3 screws. Put it on and push it up. But if you're too far forward, you're going to get more reveal right here. I got a lot of reveal. But if I go back with it, I'm back where I need to be, which, as you can see,
those require bending sometimes too, right?
As you can see, yeah. So you've got it, I've got it fitting even all the way to here, then right here, and if you see, it's way up. I got reveal right there. So that means that I need to go over to the shrinker and the stretcher, and I need to stretch this area. So I'll go over to the stretcher. If anybody's ever seen, these are Harbor Freight or Tractor Supply, but this one's a stretcher, and this is a shrinker, and you just stick it in there and you get the bar. I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna let the builder do it himself, but you stick it in there, and I usually just stretch that little bit of area, and it's not much, just work a little bit. Go back over there and fit it, see how it feels. If you go too far, bring it over here and put it in the shrinker, and it'll shrink back up. It'll shrink up faster than it did when you stretched it, because of it already being stretched and relaxed. When you stick it back in here, it's gonna shrink it a whole lot faster. It don't take much. Now, if you don't feel comfortable trying to feel that little lip back there, hopefully I can do a video on putting these on correctly. I'm gonna try and do it, because this car here actually is getting these drip rails. These are for this car. So if I don't feel comfortable putting them on there, the way I started doing it when I first started doing this was I would have my quarter panel on, everything was mocked up, I would put my roof skin on, I would clamp it down in the corners, clamp it down in the back, and then I would stick my drip rail. I would go ahead and put my holes in this for plug welding. I would go ahead and pop all my holes in it, because I plug weld it, because I can't get in there to spot weld it. So go ahead and put my holes in it, and then I come over here and I stick it into my quarter, and then I push it up in there.
Under the roof?
And I push it under the roof. And while I got it in there, I fit it. I get this part right here looking good with the bottom of my quarter, where it's supposed to be, where it curves. And then once I get it in there, I put my clamps on it, and I use the finger clamps. I use these, and I clamp into the drip rail, into the quarter, and I clamp it all the way around. And I leave it clamped to the roof. Once I get it clamped to the roof where I want it, then I come on the inside and I feel it, and I make sure that it feels like it should. And I come back and I just put me a little tack. I just put a little tack in there. When you put the tack in there, put the tack where you can get to it with your grinder with a cutoff wheel. You don't want to put the tack where you can't get into it and cut the tack. Put it out here where you can cut it, and then you can grind it, and you can do away with that tack. Even though it's going to get a piece of trim in there, it'll cover it. You could leave the tack in there, probably. Tack it back here, tack it there, tack it after the corner, tack it down here in the bottom. Once you get it tacked, you can just pop your roof up. You don't even have to take it off. Pop it up, slide it over to the side, plug weld. Grind it, clean it up, paint it, put the roof back down. Quarter panel usually has to come back off, so this is why I tell everybody to mop the whole car up before you pull it apart, before you start welding. Mop the whole car up. Put it all together, leave the drip rails out, You got quarter panels on, everything's fitting good, your back's working good. Now you're getting ready to weld up. Slap these up in there, tack them into place. Slide the roof over, drop the quarter panel off, do all your plug welding in here, clean up welding, do your plug welding up through here. Don't do the whole thing, because I've had before where something moved and I done welded the whole thing and I had to come back and readjust. Things happen. Only weld up to here where your quarter panel is. So weld that up, put your quarter panel back on, make sure your quarter panel's working, make sure your door is working good. Once you found out that all that's working good, slip your roof back down in it, check it, go over and do the same thing on the passenger side. Take it apart, do the exact same thing, roof slid over, get everything, pop the roof back down, clamp it down, make sure it's working, that ain't nothing changed. And the reason I say don't weld all this up through here is because if you weld it here and something moved and you got all this welded and you're fitting your quarter panel up and your door gap ain't right, I can tell you 9 times out of 10, the reason your door gap ain't right is because this right here is too far back. And if this is too far back, it's not gonna let your quarter panel come and it's gonna have a big gap at the top. Quarter panel needs to roll forward. Sometimes you can hammer the edge of the quarter panel back and get it to sit in here more, or sometimes you've welded this in the wrong spot or something moved. And it does move because it's gonna flex because you're welded out here, and then if it's leaning like that, when you slide it up in there and you tacked it, whenever you push this, see how it moved up? So you're leaning while it's in the quarter panel and you're tacked. That tack's pulling it, drawing it. So whenever you go to weld it and you push that down, it pulls it back just 1/8 of an inch, and that's all it takes to ruin a door gap. So only weld to here, that way if you messed up, you ain't gotta cut the whole thing loose to fix this.
Potentially destroying your entire drip rail.
Yeah, so just get it in there. I mean, you might wanna tack it. Pull it back, tack it, throw the quarter panel back on, test it. If it does, then go. You should be good though.
Charlie said, do you have a measurement on the gap between the front edge of the drip rail to the A-pillar column trim piece?
I don't, because I've seen these.
Just by feel?
I mean, just feel and just how it's going to end in here. And that's why I say if you have your quarter panel on here, you can slide this back in and you can get this right here where it needs to be on the quarter panel. And this radius is only going to go so far when you got this lined up and that lined up. The radius, if you're too far back, that is going to be horrible. You'll never get that right. If you're too far forward, it's going to be too much reveal. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It goes, put it in there, do it with the quarter panel on, do it with the roof on, put the roof back on there, check it, make sure the roof's seated, make sure it gets in there, pop it back up, weld it out, grind it, be done with it, call it a day, go in and have dinner.
Your dad said, I love how Aaron pays attention around the shop and can say things like, sometimes those require bending. That's awesome. He's trying to make my head big.
She's trying to get out. She's trying to get out here and take my job.
I told him I'd love to learn how to build. I build airplanes. Why can't I build cars?
So, that's what I would do, and hopefully, possibly with this car, this one we started building, and ended up the quarter panels wasn't any good, so we had to back up, put it up, and we ordered some quarter panels. So we've been waiting on them to come in, but as soon as the quarter panels come in, we're gonna knock this thing out, and I'll probably save the roof, do a video on it. I'll do a video on the quarter stiffeners, and maybe a video on the rear quarter stiffener and the quarter window stiffener, and I'll do the roof on this thing. I think I did one. I don't know, on the orange Camaro.
It won't hurt to
But I'll do another one, and I want to make them better. So the next, I think that pretty much covers those questions.
Got people saying great observation, wisdom, definitely great advice.
So we'll go over to the Camaro. and we'll look at this. I need just something to drink. I've been in here hollering. I do a woo couple times a day and got a tickle.
He'll get all the guys going, and in my office I just hear him out here. Woo! Hee! Hee!
Sound like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So, what I was going to look at was the gap between this is usually 1.25 inches. I've seen it between 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. But some people measure it. This one come from Tim, and he was asking about, I can't remember what. There goes a bunny rabbit just ran by.
I don't know if
y'all
you
can't
made it in the shot.
Y'all can't spot the bunny rabbit now.
No.
You don't get a prize for spotting the
No.
bunny rabbit. It says the photo of the quarter panel to roof pillar gap I asked about last Tuesday. Excellent Tech Tuesday. Also too of spacing between quarter and inside of window. Wondering if the drip edge will be able to pull it in or not. To worry much about it. Thanks again. I've seen them at different sizes, and I don't really think it's that critical. To me, I would be more worried about probably the outside edge. And generally, if it's up against here, then that outside edge is going to be fine. And in your window, the way they adjust and stuff, you can adjust your window to change it, but you just want the outside seal. I've seen them at usually about 2 fingers is usually what we do. It'll be kind of tight on 2 fingers, and that's really about 1.25 inches. So some people measure them, and I can tell by this top picture, he's got 1.5 inches here, but I think that it's because he's angling his tape measure. Now the thing with measuring, and I tell the guys when they're building, they measure firewall. I don't really have one over here. Let's see, on the Camaro back here. So 1.25 inches is generally what I do. I basically 2 fingers. I know some people's fingers are bigger, some people's smaller. 1.25 inches, and just kind of tight with 2 fingers. But when we do the front end of the cars, we have...
Gunner found Popeye.
Uh-oh. We have...
Gunner was the first to say where Popeye was.
So we have these. I ain't even found Popeye yet. So we have these, and this bolts in.
Gunner found Paco.
So these bolt in here, and this locates the correct distance between this bolt and this bolt. I've had people ask me what the measurement is, and there's really no good way to measure it because it's got a couple different angles.
The angles are, yeah.
Maybe I should market these things and sell them.
Geometry. Oh, you should.
So,
and one day, I'm working on it, guys, and I've got a lot on my plate, but I am getting a store set up on our website.
Yeah, we're gonna sell jigs fixture stuff. No, I don't know. I'm just playing.
We are gonna sell some parts. We may eventually sell jig measurement books. We don't know.
So these are just the little wrenches for air tools. You know, you use about 100 air tools a year, and you get thousands of these, and they don't ever work on the new one because they're always a different size. But anyways, this goes here, and then this piece sits here on the top of this. And when it bolts down, it holds it tight. So the measurement is supposed to be, I can't remember. Okay, so 18 7/8. I had to throw it up there to remember. So 18 7/8 is what the measurement's supposed to be to the bottom side of this. So from the base of the torque box up to the bottom of this is supposed to be 18 7/8.
So
and
from here
up to there, it's supposed to be 18 7/8 to the bottom. So I come back here and I measure it after they're building, and they get me to check off, and I come back here and I stick it up here and I measure, and when I measure, I'm at 18 7/8 right there.
Hey, Paradise.
But when they measure out here. So if I raise this up to 18 7/8 out here, and then I go back in here and measure it, I'm at a different height.
Yeah.
So
It's all about the angle of the dangle, man.
the way you held, I tell them, if you're measuring between 2 points, you want to stay as close to those 2 points as you can.
Vertically,
So
yeah.
you want to stay straight with the firewall. You want to be at 18 7/8, which that's what this is. But if I come out here and measure, I'm at 19. So if I was to set this at 18 7/8 out here, which I'd have to lean it down, and then I move back into here, and then I'm at 18 3/4.
No, you can make it anything. Sideways says, how big is there the bolt supposed to be for where you are putting the fixture? I have a really big bolt, like 1-inch bolt head on my 68 Camaro, and I don't think that's right.
No. These bolts are like 3/8. It's like a 3/8 bolt. I'm pretty sure that's 3/8. And it's gonna be
Paul agrees, 3/8.
so 3/8 bolt up top. So that's what I was going at with this about the measurement. If that inside panel piece here is lower, it's lower than the quarter panel. So if you measure at that angle, I would say right here, I got 4 3/4. But if I drop this down to where I'm level with it, I'm at 4 5/8. So when you measure that area on the car, you need to measure where you're straight up with it. So I can't really, I'll have to go.
I think you explained it well. Gunner said since he found both of them, how about one shirt and one trim stud locating P?
Oh, all right.
Just so y'all know. Here's Paco. He's hiding right in there. And there's Popeye. Hanging around. Supervisor duties.
So if you,
Yes, Gunner, we can do that.
if you cut, yeah, we'll do that. So if you measure in here and you're leaning it like this, then you're gonna be at 1 1/2. But if you take and drop it down like this, where you're straight in line with it, with this piece is flush going down, this piece is flush going down, you're at 1 1/4.
See if I can get a good angle. Right way, now do it the
So you're at 1 1/4, but if you lean it up, you're at 1 1/2. So you want to make sure you hold your tape measure in the correct angle when you're doing your measurements. But 1 1/2, if it was at 1 1/2, I don't really think it's going to be the end of the world. I'm sure some have left out of here at different angles. Generally, I just come by and I check it, and I know my 2 fingers pretty tight. It's good. I don't come by and measure with a tape measure every time. And I've never had anybody call me and say, hey, my trim don't work. And we built hundreds of them. So let me stick this back over here, and then I'm gonna come here to where Paco is.
Paco.
So yeah, we got a lot of questions.
Which is what it's all about. So keep on sending them if you have more questions, and
So
if they've been answered before and I realize that, I will try to find that video and just send you the link.
So this is James, and he said if y'all have a charger in the shop and could get me a pic or add in the live on how it's supposed to go together, I would greatly appreciate it. this is the rear window channel of my 69 Charger. So from what it looks like this is the package tray. This looks like the quarter panel up and the roof skin that he didn't replace, and he slipped this quarter panel underneath it and probably folded this tab back down. It looks pretty close from what I can tell. Generally I usually weld that area and weld that right there and then smooth it. It looks to me like it's in the correct spot. And I usually just weld that area there. But what I do is, you can see this is the quarter panel steel, and this is the roof. Now this car is going to get a quarter panel and not get the roof, hopefully, if it makes it through blast. So I don't never pull it up. I always cut it here and I weld in the quarter panel solid across here. I don't ever
overlay. Overlay.
I overlay it. I overlap it over it, and then I come in and I cut with my grinder. Now sometimes on this end piece, the way it is I usually just cut it up, and I take this piece off, and then when I get done I re-weld that little spot and that right there, and I clean that up, and that's back on there. That way I can get my quarter underneath, because there's a little tab in here that gets welded. So I usually cut my quarter in right there at that roll, but I lay it on top and I cut through both of them and trim it off. So up here where it gets split, because I obviously have to split it to get it to go over it, so I split this piece, pull it up on the new quarter panel. When I put it on here and then I cut through, this comes out and that piece just goes down and rests in there. So where I split it, I just weld that area, I weld it up and grind it. But you want to look, there's a couple places you want, this still got the trim on here, so it needs to be taken off. But you want to reach in there, and this little lip, you can tell that the quarter panel sits flush with that lip. And that's what I say about filling with your fingers, is stick your finger underneath and reach under, and you can generally feel when your fingers are not in the same position. So if it's too far over, then it's going to be off of this. So you just reach over there and you feel it, same way you do on the roof. You reach and feel and make sure that this piece is in line with the bottom piece. I mean, you can pull a tape measure and on 3/4 and then stick it underneath 3/4, but you should be able to feel, your fingers pretty much go together where they're supposed to, and you can generally tell if one finger's off from the other and not lined up with it when you pinch on both sides.
You don't have to get them calibrated.
Yeah, I get mine calibrated once a week. But I look at that, I make sure all that's fitting and that's there, and obviously your roof's going to be in the right spot because it is the factory roof. It's worked before, the car's been driven. So next you want to look at your transition down. If your deck filler's working and all this, and you want to look at that panel piece, sometimes you have to knock that panel piece back a little bit. This one actually feels like it was a little bit back in the corner, and I can see it, the overlap here is a little further because they were trying to get that thing up. And lay a straight edge up there and see how that straight edge comes down it, and make sure that it's lined up. You don't want it odd because it's going to look bad. Then put your trim in. Get the trim, your chrome trim on it, and put the trim in there and fit. Because I've had the quarter panels, I don't know what brand it is, but the bottom part of the quarter panel is messed up. It will not work with your trim. You'll get your whole car built, the thing will go to paint, it'll get painted, and when it comes back from paint, you'll never catch it until you go to put the piece of trim on. That's why I stress to, when you're working all your body, any pieces of trim, put the trim on the car and make sure that it flows with everything like it's supposed to. Make sure everything's nice and tight, and that body work. Because no matter what you do, even if you take the parts to your body man and give them to him and tell him what you want to do, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to happen. They're going to hold your car in body shop paint jail, and it's going to sit in there for years before you ever get your car back. We all know how paint and body is. But carry that and make sure they do it when they're sanding and they're doing their body filler. Stress it to them that you need that done, because when you get it back and you go to put your piece of trim up there and you got a big gap, there's nothing you can do about it.
So if you find it soon enough, what's the resolution?
If I get another one of those quarter panels in, I'll have to make a video on how to do it. But
you have to slice?
I had to slice it and cut it open, and I had to move it, and it was way off. It's horrible. I hope I never see one of them again. And but make sure that trim fits, and if you're doing it at home, make sure that it all fits. And then when it goes to the body man, maybe he won't put too much Bondo when he goes to wipe it in that area, and then you get a big bulge. But fit your trim, fit your tail light panels, or your tail lights extensions. All these, when they bring their car to me, I thought they were laying in here. I always ask them to bring tail light extensions. That's what I'll talk about over here on the Mustang. So I got James Kelly's here, and he was asking about some measurements, which I talked to him on some messages today. I will send him some messages. So I haven't forgot you, James. I got your picture here. Jig looks good. I'll talk to you some more about some things that I would change on it. On your foot here, I would probably add a spot for you to be able to put a pin in to pin it at the measurement when I give you the measurements on it. And you also want to be able to put the pockets in, which are your spring perch pocket. You want to be able to put your spring perch in your jig. You want to integrate this into it, so when you put the floor on there, it's going to locate your floor and your frame rail. It's probably the best way I can say to do it without a jig. But you need this in there. You need to go ahead and put in your bolts into your floor pan. You need to put the keepers in there, and you need to bolt this thing up to the bottom of it. And what this is going to do is this is going to set your distance on your floor pan back and forth so that it fits in the correct spot. And once I give you the measurement for the pin and the measurement for your bolt that goes into the frame rail, which is this one goes into your frame rail, and then your pin hole will be here. This is going to help locate
everything,
the side to side on your car. So I'll get that to you, and I'll show you. I'll send you some pictures of the jig and how I can walk out there and we can see if there's one close by the door. What exactly it does, and hopefully it don't lose you guys. Let me see. I can probably. There goes the bunny rabbit again.
I don't know if y'all can see him over there. Here you go.
So the way the jig is trying to think which side this is. This is this side. So bolt hole, and then you got pin hole. So I'll get you the measurement between the bolt hole, and I'll get you the measurement for the pin holes, and then I'll get you the measurement to the back. But this bolt's in there, and your frame rail's gonna sit, it's gonna pin, and then when you lay your floor on top of it, you're just gonna put the bolt in here, put the bolt in here and there, and that's gonna kinda help you get your front to back on your floor, and it's gonna help center your floor on your frame rail, so when you go to welding your trunk on.
So we'll get that email compiled up, composed, and
so you might be building this whole piece separately to stick up in the car. So if I get those measurements for you, it's really hard to do without it being stuck up in the car if you're keeping the main floor, getting it in there, because you really need to set this up in there to be able to get this set. And all the flanges, I've talked about it before, all these flanges, I can tell they're bent. They're leaning in.
Yeah.
You need to hammer them back as hard as you can. Hammer them back flush. Don't worry about hammering them back too far, because you ain't gonna be able to. And if you did hammer them back too far, you can always tap them back forward and plug weld when you get done. So I'll get you those measurements, and maybe it'll help you out. If you have any more questions, then just let me know. I've got parts strode everywhere.
We're at 30%.
So Aaron has this one from Ricky Manis. It's a 68 Roadrunner, and he was asking about this area and what components go here, and what he needs. So Aaron can email him. She's going to email him back the parts, but from what I can tell from looking at it, if you're not going to replace the package tray, I don't know what it looks like underneath here, but I can definitely tell you need the package tray extension, and then you'll need
quarters, deck filler.
There's a deck filler, quarters, package tray extension, and then there's two different components. There's an upper component and a lower component that slip in. One slips in and makes the corner, and then one slips under and makes the bottom part of the corner, which this is a Charger, but the Roadrunner, it has a piece that goes under right here that comes in from the bottom side and welds in, and then there's this piece that goes into the corner right here and welds in. Charger has this little weird shaped piece that's straight, and it actually welds underneath here, and then they have all these little weird bracket pieces like this. They don't make these, but this goes into the quarter. But the Roadrunner is the same. It has a piece that goes up in there and fills that gap in the corner on the top side, and there's one on the bottom. Erin will email you with those parts that you need and the numbers, and if you need, she can order them for you.
Yep, I'll send you the prices and everything.
I think that I pretty much covered them.
I think you did hit everything.
So yeah, looks like it. So
any brand recommendations on an SS hood plus chrome ornaments? Hoods have been really hard to find lately.
I'm not really sure, because I don't really deal much with putting hoods and stuff together.
And we don't typically do the front end, especially on the GMs, because it's technically a bolt-on item. And I haven't really heard from anybody about why. I'm gonna walk over here to the back for a second. Yep. I know we're an hour and a half in. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of animals to care for. Yeah, and but this is what I was talking about. I was waiting on these. And those are tail light extensions. Yeah. Tail light extensions. And it's because I like for the customer to have these taken off the car before they bring them. Flip it over and show that. These are pot metal, and we take them off, we could break that post very easily. They break really easy. Because they're 50 plus years old and they're fragile, and it's like that one don't even want to come unscrewed from that, but yeah, this one's the same. So I wish they would come out. I'll probably put them in the vise and try and get this out. But I like for the customer to have them off. That way I don't break them trying to take them off and have to explain to them that I broke it, because some people just don't understand that these things break easy. So what I like to do is when I'm building the car, I like to get all this profiled. And that's the same as what I was talking about by putting the trim and stuff on your car, getting it profiled to minimize body work. What this does is I can see that I need to change this angle,
And I'm not real sure if this needs to come back to this or if this needs to go into it. And I could change it by moving this panel in, hammering. I can change it by hammering this and moving this in. But once I get my deck lid mounted and I get my gap right up here, then I can look right here and see that right there my gap looks pretty good. And then with this up there, it looks like it profiles good with this. So that's telling me that my quarter panel, this piece is folded wrong and it needs to be brought back. So I'll end up cutting that, rolling that back some. Also, I like to get them because then I can profile all this to minimize body filler. It's gonna get wiped, it's gonna get body filler. I don't care who you are, how you build it, they get it. It's part of the car. But if you can see, with that lined up and you get the deck lid, you get the gap right on the deck lid and you get that gap right and then get it profiling with it. You can see right here that the quarter panel is out from it. So what I'll do is end up hooking my strap down here in the corner and I'll run it up and I'll go right across this point and I'll probably go in the tail light and do it there. And what I'll do is just pull this over. When I pull it over, I had to take that screw out. I'll pull it over or I'll mark it and I can see basically what I needed to move it over. I'll mark it, take the screw out, pull it over a little bit, see where my mark is, put a screw in it. Usually you can stick this back up in there when you got the strap pulling, and that will pull that in and get that right, because right now it looks like it's sticking out a little bit.
Could you trim away some of that metal if it was excess? If you take that extension off, I'll point at
Where?
it. Like if
Yes.
if this hit this and was stopping you from pulling that in, can you trim that a little bit?
You could trim it, but it's probably all right. I wouldn't say that you
So that doesn't
can't
happen often.
But this piece is separate from this piece, and this piece is separate from this piece.
Oh goodness.
So you can actually unscrew, take your bolts out of this, and you can actually move this over. Because if these holes ain't lining up and it's keeping it from going in the right spot, you can move that whole piece in and out, which you can see there's a good bit of room. I can't change the distance of this. I don't know if this part's right or if this part's right. So it's nice to have a tail light, to stick a tail light in there and get all that stuff measured up. These holes ain't always in the right spot. These probably are, because they don't line up with nothing but their actual part. But like Chevelles, these holes are in the quarter, and also Chargers, stuff like that, have the hole that the tail light goes through is through the quarter panel and through this part. If you buy this part from Dynacorn, buy this part from AMD, chances are them holes are not going to line up. So don't try and line them up thinking that that's where it's going to be and weld it and then stick your tail light in there. It's not going to work. Yeah. They are always off tremendously. So what I do is I get them in there and I grind out and get my tail light extension working where it needs to be. And then once I get it working where it needs to be, I stick it in there, and then I'll get in. I get in there on the inside. Well, first I weld up whatever the hole is that's overlapped, that I can see the inside part, and I weld up all that area, and it'll look oblong. It won't look like the right spot. And then I stick my tail light in there and I look at the little nipples, the bolts, and see where they're at in reference to the hole, with it lined up, with it profiling. I see where they're at. If it's hard over in this corner, then I know I need to eat that side out. It's going to go in because you've had it working where it was ground out. I had to do a video on it.
Yeah, but you might have to wallow that hole out a little bit so you have more room.
if I can't, I don't got no. If I ate the hole out this way, chances are this side's going to be covered. it's gonna be exposed. So I'll weld all this up over here, and my thing is gonna be going in right here. So when I stick it in there and I see I'm hard and it's eating this corner, I'll grind it and I'll make it look like a circle again, and it'll be nice. And I do it on all the holes.
20%.
So that's why I like the taillight extensions, is to be able to work all this to try and minimize body work. Plus, like I say, if this thing's keeping you over, don't just assume that you gotta cut the holes yet. Shift your tail panel. Tail panel might need to move. Look at it. If it's hanging out on this side, and then you go on that side and it's tucked in, then you know that everything needs to shift that way. Not necessarily your quarter panels, because you get these the gaps are straight. My gap's straight on this side, which if I put it up in there.
So you don't want to go moving panels and ruining your perfect gaps when it could be a different issue. So.
You want to move just the tail panel section. Move this. This is pretty much where it's at. They've got it marked, and far as what I've seen on this Mustang, I was told that the Mustang is ridiculous and shouldn't even try them because the parts are horrible. But far as from what I can see, they go together smooth, and the holes and the notches and stuff actually line up like you would think, like they did from the factory. The the wheelhouses, the holes, all the holes in the wheelhouses were lined up, and that's what people do nowadays with all these other Camaros and stuff. They line them holes up and they weld them together because that's what it's supposed to done, but that's not how it works. This one turns out it's working.
That's good news.
It's a first.
Good news.
But yeah, I guess we'll sit down. I don't know if there's any questions, and I guess we'll get who won it? Gunner.
Gunner.
So
Gunner found everything.
We'll get him a shirt, and
he wants the P.
I'll make him the P. I've actually got to send out. I'll make a P, and I got to send out the frame rail mod. A guy asked about it, and I told him I'd get it in the mail tomorrow. So hopefully.
Oh, so I'm going to the post office.
Well, it ain't nothing but a P. You should be able to put it in an envelope.
Oh, not for a shirt though. No.
Oh well, you got to go to
worries.
shirt. So.
No worries.
So I got to do the frame rail mod. And I want to redo the video on the frame rail mod, and also I want to do a lot of stuff. I'm just taking it one day at a time, and I kind of feel like this is what I need. I told the guys when I was going up, we're going to Charlie's, I was like, yeah, I think I need to get me like an enclosed trailer. I need me a enclosed trailer big enough to haul like a welder and have it set up with tools, and maybe if I know I'm going to work on a Camaro, have parts, you know, a bunch of extra parts for a Camaro. That way when I get there, if there's something wrong, we ain't gotta order and wait on a Camaro part. I'll have it. If I'm going to work on the Chevelle, extra stuff. But also, if I can't get Charlie's car to work, I'm gonna bring it back and I'm gonna work on it and I'm gonna fix what I can. I'm pretty sure I can get him fixed from what I've seen, but who knows?
We're gonna send Gunner a Mopar.
Send him a Mopar shirt.
No, he's Camaro all the way.
We're gonna oh. When you said it threw me off, Gunner and Go-Go. So got him an old U-Haul.
Oh my.
That would be awesome. A U-Haul, and then I could just put my welder in there and I can rig it out with some tools, and I could paint the side up, aMAYSingMetalWorks and the road show, and maybe I could get a.
They're only $19.99 a day.
Yeah, I could rent one, $19.99 a day. But I think it would be cool. I think it'd be my way to be a missionary and still do what I love. So.
I think this is my first time without dreads on TikTok in a couple of months.
Uh-oh.
I feel naked.
Yeah, oh, Tim's on there, so.
Yeah, I didn't read everything. He was saying thanks, sorry.
If I didn't cover it, my email's on there. I think I need to add my email to that. Because what I did today was I made a thing of hashtags so that people would find the channel more, with my Cash App stuff, all that stuff. and also the installation center. But I think I need to add my email on to them. That way it makes it easier. So if you have questions, obviously people are finding my email because they're emailing me, and I love it. I just sometimes I get overwhelmed with stuff and I can't really answer it at the time. Just hang in there. If you feel like I might have overlooked it, send me another one. Send me another one. It's not bothering me that they're coming through, and I appreciate everybody's feedback. I was thinking about it today. You know, they have a Christian-based TV. What is it? Like TV shows, and they're on some kind of. You can get The Chosen, the TV show The Chosen on it, and it's like these Christian producers. I'm like, maybe they'll.
Angel app.
Angel app. So maybe they'll make a car show, because all the car shows that they have on TV are a bunch of people that is scripted stuff, and they go out and they do scripted work and work on cars, and they're running around, they're cussing and they're hollering at everybody. You know, us people that I guess are lame Christians, we might need our own car show that deals with day-to-day struggles and. Did
you do Go-Go's trunk floor? Weren't you supposed to?
I gotta I'll cut it first thing in the morning, Go-Go.
Okay, I'm making a note.
She's going, and I forgot. See, I forgot Go-Go. I gotta cut him out a piece of a trunk floor. So I'll get that. I'll get the little frame mod, and Erin's going tomorrow, and she'll send everything off.
Hey, Mr. Cajun, and I've seen a couple of questions, so in case y'all didn't get my reply, if you're looking to buy shirts, hoodies, mid-rocker braces, the P, if GB wants to tell everybody what the P is, either way, the best way to order anything from us right now is to email me at Erin@theinstallationcenter.com. Tell me what you're looking for, and I will get your address, and we'll do it that way until I get the store set up on the website. That's how we got to do it, guys.
Yeah. So, but I was like, yeah, I need this TV show. So maybe they will. I was talking to Charlie and the guys the other day, and they were like, yeah, you get a TV show. I said, yeah, those people on those shows pay to be on those shows. Like when we had Cut Chop Rebuild, Graveyard Cars, we had to pay them to come. Craig did, paid them to come here and video. So it's not
and
like
it's not like a little $500 check. It's like somebody's year salary to have them come video.
To have them come do one episode. It's ridiculous. So I got free YouTube here. I'm going to use it and
we did get great marketing from that and a little exposure here and there. And somebody told us today that you don't make money when you sell things, you make money when you buy things. So I can understand the logic in that sometimes, that you want to put out a little bit because the return on your investment can be profitable, but
yeah. So we're trying to make it better. We're trying to move forward, and like I say, if God wants me to have a TV show, then I'll have a TV show. But I can bet you, I was talking about Grease Monkey. What is that? Grease Monkey?
Huh?
Ken Diggett. The TV
the
show
that I was looking at.
The TV show, the Grease Monkey or whatever. Grease Monkey. Gas Monkey. Grease Monkey.
Oh my.
Gas Monkey Garage, and I was talking about whatever his name is, David or whatever, Ken Dig.
Yeah.
I was talking about him and his attitude towards everything, and then I talked to somebody else about it, and they actually know him and have met him, and they said that that's not how he is, that's how it is on the show. Well,
yeah, that he's like really a cool
they
dude.
said he's cool, so I kind of take it back, but there's no if I did a TV show, ain't nobody gonna tell me
that you gotta act
that
like
I gotta act a certain way. I'm gonna be myself, and that's just it. So
Donald, I do get emails at home. I get emails 24 hours a day, unless I'm sleeping, I'm getting them.
Yeah.
I don't ever stop working.
So, but before the thing dies, I can see it's way down in like the yellow, about to turn red, and we've been here for what, hour and a half?
A little over an hour
A little
and a half.
over an hour and a half, not much.
And we gotta
But
go home
we
and
owe
take
it to
care
you
of the
guys.
animals, and we do appreciate it. We don't mind going a little bit long, but it is time to
Yeah,
to
Richard
go.
Rollins.
Richard Rollins. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
So I kind of was like, my dad showed me a video of him going out and racing. I can't remember who it was. He went out and did a race, and he had to build a car, and he didn't even drive his car, and I was like, man, that's just poor, and
It's easy to make assumptions about people based on their personality portrayed on television as well, because the production crew cuts out all the, like with live, y'all see us from beginning to end.
yeah, you see me
Nothing's cut
calling
out.
a 69 Camaro a 67 or 68.
You called it 69 and 68, yeah, and I
Yeah.
called it a 67. We're both wrong, and you got to see it raw.
Yes, so anyways, love you guys, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, please do that. If you don't do anything else, at least subscribe, share, and just be the light.
Have a blessed evening, and if you need anything from us car-wise, you can email us. If you've got a prayer request, you can also email us that too.
Yeah, so love you guys, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday.